Hey guys, Primal Chaos here, welcome to the channel, and listen, you guys weren't going to let me off the Jinjer hook without hitting this one up. This has been one of the most requested Jinjer songs, essentially since I started doing it, and, you know, I got to scratch that curious itch and find out exactly why. I've had a quick look through the lyrics. The song is Home Back, and it's clearly about the band and their struggles through when the war rolled through their homeland and they got displaced and had to deal with that. There's some really interesting sort of concepts in the lyrics, so it'd be really interesting to see how this song sort of plays out with that. It's very, very serious, but at the same time, you know, like it's got some beautiful poetry through there, like home is not a building, home is liberty, a place where memories live in prosperity and peace, you know. And that's just, yeah, like you can tell there's a difference with how people write poetry and music about war who've experienced war as opposed to people who glorify war. This is, yeah, just an interesting sort of center point in that argument, seeing how, you know, there's no glorification here. This is all just lamentations of war, right? So very interesting. But anyway, let's just jump straight into the song, because I'm curious what is it about this song that you guys seem to connect with so much. Does Napalm just own everything? I swear. This is funky, man. Okay, I better stop there. Wow, just so many different grooves and stuff going on there. There's, I mean, you can hear the angst in it. There's so much dissonance in the rhythms. You know, there's so much sort of like, you know, really cool sort of little triplet riffs too there with like sort of like the ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. That's really cool. Yeah, so far, I mean, it's not what I expected at all, but in many ways it is. But I feel like we've had so much dissonance throughout all of this sort of early stages, like the intro and verse. I feel like there's going to be some sort of a shift to give you refuge from that, because there's just got to be, right? Like, I feel like there's going to be some, like, less dissonant sort of, like, sonically less, a little bit more engaging melodically stuff coming up, because if there's not, this is going to be a real dirge to get through, you know what I mean? And I mean, like, that's not to say that the song isn't very cool, but it feels dark. It's got a real dark energy, and it should, because of war, but there's got to be some sort of relief, and I don't know if that'll come through in like a bridge or a middle eight or something like that. But let's go back a little bit, because I want to hear some more of those riffs. Nice. But that imagery too, man. Let's talk about the video clip for a second, right? Like, I mean, I totally can see the only thing missing from Tatiana's appearance is like an AK-47 slung over her shoulder like a gorilla. But like the imagery that they're doing through the clip of like the soldiers marching through, you know, through the windows, that beautiful, when they're, you know, like the fighter plane is coming towards you and it dumps all its chaff, which is like an anti-rocket sort of defense mechanism. That's what you see, all of that sort of white smoke and sort of glitter and stuff like that through the sky. What's interesting about that is that often it looks like angel wings. There's some amazing photos of like, you know, a warthog or something flying through the air, and it's just deploying its countermeasures. And because of this, the vortexes behind the wings, you get these weird spiral patterns of these things, and it genuinely looks like angel wings. And so they've taken that concept. I'll see if I can find the part. Where is it? Yeah, just here. They've taken that concept and they've turned it into angel wings, which is, that's so cool and so beautifully rendered too. As a VFX artist, that's like, it's really well put together. It's immediately obvious what it is, you know, but it ties in with the lyrics of, is that an angel watching over us? No, it's a air fighter making a fuss, you know. It's really cool.
It's a unicorn galloping down the street. No, this are soldiers' boats marching to the death.
A lot of care's been put in this video, man.
Marching to the death.
Yep, I knew it. This is the resolution, right?
You wake up like this isolated bodies in a boudoir of helplessness. A bullet is an early bird, a midnight owl. Morning greetings over rooster.
So like a bossa nova beat, right?
With fire in a hole, fire in a hole. My dear, do we have to go to sleep like that? With a soothing cocktail and 100 cigarette. Morning greetings over rooster are replaced
With fire and a hole, a better cold.
That was cool, right? You get this little melodic reprieve with that weird sort of, it's like a Rio de Janeiro kind of bossa nova groove. And again, Tatiana, she just is this chameleon of just being able to find these vocal melodies that sort of weave beautifully between these different types of rhythms. When I was reading through the lyrics, I'm like, I don't know how she's going to phrase all of this stuff. It doesn't seem like it's going to fit, because the lyrics don't have any real pentameter. They're just kind of like, you know, just lines thrown together in a really interesting and delicate way. But it's just like, as someone thinking about how you would fit this to a melody, it just seems complicated. Excuse me. Still got that COVID's. Let's go back a little bit and hear that again. Also, the scenery, you got like this weird tea party vibe. Alice in Wonderland with the spiral and everything in the background. And I mean, the masks, I don't know about the reference point of them, but maybe there's a rabbit and a wolf and scarecrow maybe lying down. Interesting. So I got to hear this part again.
My darling, did we wake up like this isolated bodies in a boudoir of helplessness? A bullet
It's interesting. It's almost like they're guests at a tea party they don't want to be at, like they're held hostage, like the eye movement there. It's like in this case, she's embodying the war and they're all the hapless victims that don't have any choice, right?
And the 100 cigarette morning greetings over rooster are replaced
With fire and arrow, a better code. Let's go this basement flow.
There's triplets again.
Better code. Let's go this basement floor. This house is not a shelter anymore. This house is not a shelter anymore. This house is not a shelter anymore.
Come on.
Romans never turn. Replace with memories left. The prosperity and peace. I can't come, so I want my own back. I can't come, so I want my own back. Don't you learn the soulless? Don't you learn the soulless?
Hang on, what? How's she get so low? That's insane. Hang on, I want to hear some of that again.
The prosperity and peace.
That's so doomy, just how they're letting those notes sort of just sit. Like the bounciness is kind of gone, and it's just sort of like this sort of dirge.
I can't come, so I want my own back. I can't come, so I want my own back. Don't you learn the soulless? Don't you learn the soulless?
Wow. Those low notes, man. There we go. Wow. 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 That's intense. That's a really intense track. We'll be right back. All right, guys, this is the part where I talk to you about Enchroma Glasses. 1 in 6 guys, 1 in 200 women are colorblind, and there's something you can do about it. You can click the link in my description. It'll take you to Enchroma, where you can get an eye test, find out what kind of color blindness you have, and while you're there, pick up some corrective lenses. There's frames to suit everybody in all different styles, and yeah, if you use the code CHAOS in checkout, you get 10% off. Tell them Primal Chaos sent you. So this song is an interesting one because a lot of music, particularly music from the West, talks about heavy themes, right? And you know, a lot of it seems like there's an impetus there when you're starting out as in, say, a metal band or whatever. As a young person, the impetus is to try and write songs that have the same meaning as a lot of the bands that you grew up listening to and influenced by. And a lot of times it's real easy to miss the point. You know, as someone who's a little bit older, you might have had more life experience and you might have had more context for writing about topics. But, you know, a lot of bands, you know, like I guess a perfect example would be someone like Silverchair doing Israel's Son or whatever. When they were 15 or 16 years old, they're writing songs about things like war and genocide and things like that. And, you know, while you might be passionate about it, you don't understand the nuance of it in the context. What's refreshing about this song is it comes from a place of understanding, right? These guys lived through this. They lived through being displaced when the war rolled through their region and they had to make a choice whether to stay or leave. And, you know, and now they've got to sort of live with those consequences. And they've seen what's happened to obviously people they've left behind. And, you know, there's a weightiness, there's a heaviness to their story. And it's reflected in this song as well. Now, musically, what's interesting is, as I pointed out, like there's so much dissonance in this song. It's got the same sort of textural sort of funk element to it, like the, you know, rhythmically, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it's funky and it's jazzy, you know, but it has a rawness to it because there's so much dissonance sonically that it makes you uncomfortable. It's off kilter. The rhythms are there, the grooves are there, but the notes they're playing aren't overly pleasant to listen to. You know, there's so many conflicting notes and everything deliberately to give you that sense of unease and disruption and chaos. And so anytime you can get a band that can produce the sound of what the singer is trying to impart lyrically, that to me is just it's on a whole other level. You know, we've talked about this before, where songs musically without the lyrics and the vocals still take you on that same journey. And that's exactly what's going on here. But I love the fact that they give you a reprieve from that with that little section in the middle, the Alice in Wonderland sort of segment, the Tea Party, where melodically it goes bossa nova and jazzy, you know, and it sort of has that, you know, she still has that groove rhythm there, but musically it sounds way more pleasant and uplifting almost. But what's interesting about that tool that they've used there is it's kind of like it's a bait and switch, because what actually happens is when you take something that's so scarred and broken and you juxtapose it against something that's so cheesy and pleasant, it makes the cheesy and pleasant seem more broken and twisted than what came before. So the reality is you've got this crazy sort of, you know, angst-ridden chaos, and then you try to fix it by patching it up with this pleasant sort of melodic passage. And what ends up happening is that passage just becomes creepy, right? And I think that was 110% deliberate. Hence why they've got the imagery of like the Tea Party, and you know you know, it seems like the other guys in the band are sort of they're kidnapped, they're victims, held against their will, you know, because there's nothing creepier or more unsettling than fairy tale logic, you know, with an undercurrent of dissonance, you know what I mean? Or like, you know, uncertainty. And so that's exactly the tool they've used here, and they've used it really effectively, you know? So yeah, I'm a big fan. That melodically and everything, it was great. I love Tatiana's lyrics. I love the grooves. Like I said, the complicated pentameter, right? Like when you read through the lyrics, it doesn't seem like they'd be easy to fit to, any kind of song really. And she just deftly sort of maneuvers and muscles for rank, fuel burning fast. On like a tangent there, sorry. Any cake fans out there? She definitely just weaves these sort of complex syllable patterns into places where they just shouldn't fit, and makes it seem effortless, which is again testament to her skill and her experience. But yeah, what a great song. Thank you again for recommending it. Again, this will be going on the playlist and probably something I listen to more and more and pull out a million things that I wish I would have said in this video. But yeah, thanks for the suggestions. Yeah, I knew I wouldn't get away with not doing that song based on the amount of people asking for it. And I'm glad you guys did. Keep hitting me up. Okay, so look, if I've brightened your day at all, feel free to buy me a coffee. I'll put a link in the description. All of these videos get demonetized. Also, like, share, subscribe. The bigger the community, the more people I can reach, and the more people can enjoy these videos. So thanks a lot, guys. Keep hitting me up with suggestions. I was a big fan of this one. Anything sort of left of field, don't be afraid to throw that to me as well, because I've got some stuff coming up that's going to be real different. And I'm really enjoying it so far with the journey. So cool. I'll catch you guys in the next one.